Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magicman, and this is episode 357. We're doing it live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb, where we stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, some type of free-to-play game. And on Friday at 1 Eastern, we tack on the Free-to-Play Cast. So you could be watching it live, hanging out with us, getting your comments live on the show, or check it out on YouTube, making sure that you leave your comments for the answers of the question of the week and your weekly bombs down below so we can bring them on next week's show. We've got a lot to cover today, actually. We're going to have a little bit of fun with some speculation. I wanted to do an MMO Thoughts episode on this, but it's not really really heavy free-to-play, so I kind of had a hard time justifying that. So we brought it to the cast. We'll talk about that here. And then we've got some other news, and we'll finish it off with a first-look review from Mr. Zach Sharps on the newly free-to-play Rocket League. Joining me to go over all of it, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
Me and my naked wall here, which I'm sure will not be put to shame by anyone else on this cast. So, perfect. That's all there is.
Not at all.
Just a naked wall. Nobody else is anything better than this, I'm sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Also joining us, brand new host. Welcome him to the podcast, Mr. Wilfredo Rivera. How are you, sir?
Hello, Internet.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Look at that wall.
Oh.
Sorry about that, Jason.
You're fired. Get him off the cast.
Now, so here's the thing. Wilfredo, you probably know the name if you've been a long-time listener of the cast. Wilfredo has commented many episodes throughout the, 9-10 years we've been doing this damn thing now. But I even forgot this until I was talking to Wilfredo when we got started a week ago, getting him, onboarded here. Wilfredo's actually been on a free-to-play cast. So I always have, if you look at the information, there's always been like an open call for viewers to either suggest a segment, send us news. Like if you see news out there and we haven't covered it yet, we've got, my MMO Bomb email address you can send things to and all that. But part of that call is, hey, if you, the only requirements were you had to have good audio and video, like couldn't be a potato. And it had to be natively in English, so you had to be able to express your ideas clearly in English language. But if you were a viewer and you wanted to appear on a show, and Wilfredo took me up on that, as well as some others, but Wilfredo took me up on that, like episode 57-ish or something like that?
Episode 58.
58. We talked about Scarlet Blade. Scarlet Blade. Now, I know we asked you this on the show, but it has been years now since you've been on the show. So for the viewers now, we got to ask as a new host before we get started with the news, 2 questions of any new host. What is the game that got you into gaming in general? And what is the MMO that got you into MMOs in general? They don't have to be free to play, obviously. Those are just, your 2 trigger points. What were they?
So for me, what got me into gaming, this is going to make me sound old. It was Star Wars on the Atari.
Nice.
My grandfather had the console, and I was a kid, of course. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just throwing the joystick around. And at that point, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want more of it.
Wait. First of all, did you say your grandfather had the console?
My grandfather had the console.
Okay, so that makes me feel old that your grandfather had the Atari, because I had the Atari growing up.
Yeah, no, he surprisingly, he had the console. It was given to him from one of his nephews.
From his grandfather.
Yes, from his grandfather. Here, boy, take this. Play these games. But yeah, that's where I got gaming into my life.
It's an Atari family heirloom.
Yes.
It's been passed
Back to
down.
1906.
I mean, honestly, I still have mine. It still works. I got it from my dad, but that was it. I didn't get it. It doesn't go any back further than that. So I guess I'll have to give it to one of my kids, and then they can have the same story Wilfredo has.
My grandfather gave me this.
All right, so what about the MMO?
So when it comes to MMOs, the first game I ever played in an MMO was Ultima Online.
All right,
and
that's a lot of firsts.
Yeah. And during that time, it was like, oh man, I get to create this adventurer, and you could actually go to different barracks and train up your skills before you went out into the world. It was super, super hard for someone who has no idea what they're doing.
Right.
So I was like, all right, there's got to be something else out there. And then a friend of mine introduced me to EverQuest. And that had changed the landscape completely.
Yep.
And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm into it now. I get it.
All right.
You're addicted for life.
Hey, here you are,
Unfortunately.
all these years later, on an MMO podcast.
So excited!
All right.
Little me on the Atari could never imagine this. Or my grandfather.
All right, let's slide over and get started with the news. All right, before we actually hit the news, there are two things I do want to point out here. So we do have Genshin Impact coming out in a few days here, just a couple of days. So there's not going to be a lot of talk about Genshin Impact on the show here today because there's nothing to really talk about. But if you're waiting for that launch, it's coming, and I would encourage you later today to check out mmobomb.com. Later today for chat. It'll be up by the time you're watching this on YouTube. We'll have an interview with MiHoYo and the Genshin Impact team, getting a lot of questions answered. I did fire back a second question after I got a final follow-up question after I got the results with all the like Chinese bans and stuff that were going on with re-rolling and maybe get some clarification. I don't know if we'll get the answer to that in time to include in the interview. But if we get it later, I will follow up and add it to the interview. And second, if you watched the PSO2 New Genesis display at Tokyo Game Show this morning, obviously there was some information there. Not a lot that I thought it really warranted shoving it in the free-to-play cast at last minute, but there'll be an MMO Thoughts video up on YouTube specifically dedicated to what news was dropped there. So if you're looking for news on those two things, probably not going to see it here today, but those two items, the interview and the MMO Thoughts, will be available on mmobomb.com sometime in the next few hours. So if you're watching this on YouTube, they'll already be there. If you're watching this live with us, you got a little bit. But in actual other news, gentlemen, we had some pretty big news this week on the gaming front. Maybe not so much on the free-to-play front, but I think it does warrant discussion here for a few different reasons. We had Microsoft acquire Bethesda Softworks, that's ZeniMax's parent company, for $7.5 billion. Billion dollars. Now, before we get into our thoughts on what that could mean for titles, we'll have some fun with some speculation in a little bit here. Wilfredo, I want to get just your gut reaction when you woke up and you saw, whoa, Microsoft bought Bethesda Softworks. What was your gut reaction?
So I was at work when I saw this, and two things happened. The first thing I said is, this isn't possible. And then when I finally got grounded in it, I said, oh man, I'm scared. This scares me quite a bit.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
And the only reason why is because you're looking at one of the major AAA third-party companies that made bank off of many titles. Obviously, Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I'm an Elder Scrolls nut. I'm very much a huge fan of Bethesda.
We had no idea.
No clue. Like, none of this says anything. But it made me think, what other major companies are going to go out of their way to buy up these big third-party companies? I mean, obviously, Activision Blizzard isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But what if somebody decides, hey, Ubisoft, that's on the table maybe? Or...
honestly, that company probably should be bought by somebody else right now.
It should. I'm not going to lie. There are some things about that. But this made me wonder, like, there's a lot of titles underneath the Bethesda umbrella.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned like who's next because we do have a little internet conspiracy theory brewing right now on that. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. Guardian, no spoiling it, Guardian.
But yeah, I think it's a bit freaky. Although I will admit there is a thing someone noted. Mr. Matty Plays on YouTube made a really good point. Now that Bethesda and ZeniMax has someone for oversight, Todd Howard can't let his genius just spew wherever, no matter how bad it gets. Fallout 76. So maybe, just maybe, there's some hope here.
Maybe. Jason, your gut reaction when you saw the news?
You see, that's the exact thing. It's like Wilfredo started off by saying, "Oh, I was kind of scared by it," and I'm like, could they really do worse than what Bethesda's been doing lately? Maybe this could only be an improvement, right?
Yeah,
maybe now we'll see Elder Scrolls 6 actually in the next decade.
Yeah, I honestly thought my kind of gut reaction was along the same lines as you, Jason. It was that might be the best thing for Bethesda right now. This might have bought a little bit of time for that company to get Elder Scrolls 6 done, to get the next Fallout done, to start
Starfield.
Starfield, to start pushing those. Because honestly, when you look at their current lineup, there's no debating, Wilfredo, how big the IP Elder Scrolls is. It's just massive, right? That's sustaining, for lack of a better term, that is sustaining this company right now, is how many times can we sell Skyrim and on what platform? Because like you mentioned, Fallout 76 didn't, not doing so great. On a little bit of a rebound, I'll give it that. I'm not a fan still, but it's on a little bit of an upswing versus years ago. There's just no debating how big some of these IPs are, but you can only sell Skyrim so many times, and then 6 has to come out. You've got Elder Scrolls Online, which by all accounts is doing steady. Not great, not poorly, but steady by all publicly available accounts. So, yeah, there's not a huge money maker in there right now besides the reselling of Skyrim and some steady income from some other IPs. Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online. How great that income is, I don't know. So I thought the acquisition was kind of a good thing for Bethesda. It's obviously a great thing for Microsoft. I don't know if it's worth $7.5 billion.
Yeah.
I think they probably overpaid a little bit for this, though, Jason.
I saw someone point out, too, that when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they paid about $4 billion for it.
Yeah, they got a much better deal for Star Wars.
Is Bethesda worth twice as much as Star Wars?
I don't know about that. I'm feeling like it's a little overpaid.
Yeah, especially considering... Again, I don't really know how much of an effect it's all gonna, it all is gonna have eventually when Elder Scrolls 6 launches or whatever. But like 6 years ago, I might have said okay, maybe. But Bethesda has really kind of hit the rocks since then.
Yeah,
and I feel like they are worth less. Again, you never know because they could still probably at least Elder Scrolls 6 tomorrow would sell 30 million copies, but it just feels like it's lower value than it was a few years ago, just because of all the screw ups they've made. So I feel like they negotiated a pretty good deal here for them.
Yeah, on Bethesda's side, I think you've got to be happy with this. You've kind of got to be happy with this. On the free-to-play front, kind of bringing it back to the whole free-to-play thing, really the only title of any note at all is Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game, being free-to-play.
Fallout Shelter.
Yeah, Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter, the mobile stuff. So nothing like huge and breathtaking on the PC that I think is... none of that's going to change. Hey, at worst, they'd be canceled, I think. I think if we get news on either of those titles, the only real news would be, hey, we're not going to do it anymore. But what do you think this portends for some of the other franchises, Wilfredo? Can you envision an Elder Scrolls Online free-to-play conversion? Because, Microsoft picking up a lot of free-to-play stuff all of a sudden with Phantasy Star Online 2, which will kind of talk about them and Sega in a little bit here, and kind of pushing this Game Pass, making buy our sub and just throw it all in there. Lots of free-to-play games on their marketplace as well. Do you see maybe Elder Scrolls Online in a free-to-play conversion at some point, or any of their other titles adopting a more free-to-play-ish model, if not fully free-to-play?
I would say if they're going to have any game go free-to-play, it's got to be Fallout 76. I mean, the game is a basic dumpster fire, so you might as well just put it out there for anybody and everybody to try out and see why it's such a dumpster fire. ESO, I don't see going free-to-play.
What about being added to the Game Pass then?
Oh, absolutely. I can see that happen.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest bang for buck for Microsoft. They just got Elder Scrolls, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, Fallout. All of these games are now just going to jump onto Game Pass. This just made Game Pass worth buying.
Yeah, Doom.
So, Doom, especially Doom. Are you kidding me? With the multiplayer aspect, map building? Yes, absolutely. Free to play, Fallout 76 probably would be the only game I could see that going free to play. Everything else, still behind a paywall.
Agree, Jason?
Yeah, definitely. If anything, it would be Fallout 76. It seems like it's recovered decently, and it's still, I think, is pulling pretty good numbers since its Steam launch. Let me see here real quick. About 8,000 regular players. So that's pretty good. But I feel like it's got on sale a number of times and been pretty cheap. So if it drops off at all, then I could definitely see it happening. And actually, Boxer 2 there mentions the that mobile game, Elder Scrolls Blades. That's also free to play. But
Oh yeah.
we've all forgotten about that.
Yeah. I think there's a high likelihood of Fallout 76. I agree. I could envision a time when ESO goes free to play, but I don't think it's going to be on the heels of this acquisition. I don't think this is like Microsoft going to step in and say, okay, let's make that free to play. I think that's going to be what you would expect. When the player base starts to decline and it's not as stable, then we'll make it free to play. I don't think it really has anything to do with the acquisition itself. However,
You see the comment from Zach over in chat there.
I did not.
ESO is like Rocket League. It won't go free to play until it does.
Exactly. Yeah. Until they feel like, okay, we've gotten as much box money out of this as we can. Now it's time to make it free to play. I don't think the acquisition is going to trigger a free to play or anything. But on the flip side of this, again, taking this maybe outside the range of free to play, exclusivities obviously, I think, hit the table as possibilities across the board. Now, I personally was asked on a couple streams like what I thought about titles that are already out there, Elder Scrolls Online in particular. I don't think you're going to see any all of a sudden exclusivity deals in stuff like that. There's too much money to be made by leaving them where they're at, and you'd have to cost analysis that, right? If we take it away from PlayStation, how many people that play on PlayStation are likely to pick up a PC copy or to go buy an Xbox and play it on Xbox? That number is less than the revenue by leaving it on PlayStation, so we'll just leave it there. That's kind of my point on it. But down the road, can you see now Elder Scrolls 6, Xbox Game Pass, PC exclusive, timed exclusive? Do you see, or is the franchise just too big where you go, actually, exclusivity hurts us because the franchise is so big, we want it available everywhere for the box sales. Screw exclusivity deals. They did say, by the way, that they are going to honor current exclusive deals with Sony for things like Deathloop and Ghostwire, which was so generous of them. They had to, gang. They had to. You can't buy a company and just cancel contracts. It doesn't work that way. How generous.
Unless you're Epic, they'd probably find a way.
Right. But do you see something that big potentially, Jason, having a timed exclusivity deal or a full-blown exclusivity deal? Or are they so fucking big that you're just like, no, we don't hurt our own sales at this point?
I think it's possible. Because I remember way back when my grandpa was playing on Atari or whatever. I can remember back when Final Fantasy VII was originally coming out, and it was only going to be on PlayStation and not Nintendo, whatever their GameCube or whatever they had back there. And I bought a PlayStation because I wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. So could that? Because like I said, it was a big deal. The Final Fantasy franchise was huge, and it got me to buy the PlayStation. Now you could say Elder Scrolls 6. It's such a huge deal. Maybe it gets you to buy the Xbox instead of a PlayStation or whatever. So I think it's possible. I don't think it's... I'd go kind of 50-50 on it, I guess. I'm waffling.
That is a waffle. Wilfredo, are you waffling too?
No. I think because of the fact that you have major IPs like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout being as big as they are, they're not going to put those behind exclusivity. Maybe time exclusives, sure, but just to flat out say, no, this is exclusive to Xbox or exclusive to PC. Not going to happen. That's too much money to just walk away.
Guardian, you are dirty. You are absolutely dirty. That would be awful.
That would be terrible.
Guardian in chat says that they're going to sell the games for $70 on the PlayStation 5 and $60 on the Xbox. That's really good, Guardian. That would be
even
so
better. Make
dirty.
it loot boxes on PlayStation 5 and none on the Xbox.
That would be so dirty. Dirty pool. I don't know. All in all, I'm kind of happy about this one. But I do have to say that in an interview, Microsoft did say that they were going to look at other acquisitions too. So they weren't necessarily done buying game companies. They're kind of taking this approach of the content is key. And I mean, that feels dumb to say because we all know that, right? If you have a console with shitty content, you have a shitty console, no matter what the specs on the console are. But they're really taking this to heart by buying up the things. The best meme I saw by this on the way was, like Sony. Hey, look, we bought 2 Bethesda games, and it was like a Deathloop and a Ghostwire thing. And then it was like Microsoft, hey, look, we bought Bethesda. I was like, that's a good meme. Anyway, they have mentioned that they're looking at other companies. The current conspiracy theory, because it is a bit conspiracy theory-ish, is Sega. Now, obviously, Microsoft has started a bit of a partnership with Sega on some titles, most notably exclusivity deals for at least timed periods with Phantasy Star Online 2, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. They've got some other projects they're working with Sega. And a lot of this, like, if you just took all of these as little pieces, you'd be like, people are being ridiculous. But it's one of those situations where there's so many of those little pieces that there just might be something to it. And Microsoft, Xbox themselves, are adding fuel to the speculative fire, tweeting out things like, there's nothing, we're not allowed to drop hints here anymore. There's nothing in this below email that is even a hint. Don't bother looking. And this is whole email about Game Pass. And if you change the contrast on it, it references Slayer in there. They dropped the new controller, the blue and white controllers that look suspiciously like the Sega colors, like the Sonic colors. They reference the controller as being still iconic. And if you have the S and the Onic at the end, you have Sonic. They've referenced pictures. There's been pictures released online of a Sega employee kind of making an X with her arms in front of a box on her desk, being, Xbox. So the speculation is kind of, would they buy Sega? Or is this just more they're teasing because they've got some type of exclusive game deal or enhanced partnership? I kind of lean towards more it's a heavy partnership. I don't think they acquire Sega, but I could definitely see a reason for doing it. Like the game stable, by the way, you pick up Atlas, subsidiary, so you grab Persona, you grab Shin Megami Tensei, you grab those types of IPs, you grab Sega's IPs as far as Sonic and stuff. But what has been the weak point for Microsoft for years in consoles as far as sales? Where's the weak point on the globe, Jason?
Japan.
It's Japan.
Yeah.
It's Japan. You pick up Sega, hopefully the intent there is maybe this will help us get some market penetration in Japan. I don't know. It's a lot of like weird conspiracy theory stuff, but when you put it all together, maybe. And I don't think it's that bad an idea, but I also think it probably is more indicative of a heavy partnership or some exclusivity deals that are going to be announced more than probably an acquisition myself. Jason, what are your thoughts?
I mean, every company is always going to say it's looking at acquiring things and whatever, so that part of it doesn't really get me to go anything. But when you talk about all the little hints and whatever they're dropping, I guess I lean a little more in the direction of something going on. I don't know if it's, like you said, a partnership or a full acquisition. It's, could be.
Fantastic
could be.
way to
I'll
break.
waffle again. Let me waffle again.
It's a fantastic way to try to break into Japan, which has historically been a very poor performing market for your consoles, Wilfredo.
Did you know I was actually looking at getting a waffle iron this week too? By the way, just throwing it out there. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, it is a good way to get into Japan. There are also other ways too. Like, I don't know, pushing more Japanese RPGs.
Yeah,
working with companies that would bring Japanese developed games into America, which, hey, these people like it. They're probably going to check out what other games this company develops, and they may primarily develop other games. Then the Japanese developers working along with Microsoft, hey, we've got a bridge here. Let's make it work. I think acquiring Sega, bit outlandish, seeing as though Nintendo has done a really good job with keeping Sonic somewhat alive, not including Sonic Boom. But for the most part, I think a partnership is more likely. But buying it, I don't see the mass appeal for buying Sega, at least on Xbox side.
If you haven't been following this and what I'm talking about is totally new, I'd recommend checking out one of Yang Ye's videos on this topic. I think it was posted yesterday or the day before, where everything that we were just talking about, he summarizes and goes through it as well. So it's a real 10 minutes. You can get caught up on it. I tend to agree. I think it's more indicative of maybe we're going to have a lot more exclusives with this company coming up. Or maybe they're trying to revitalize Sonic in some way, and that's going to be exclusive. But yeah, an acquisition I think makes sense, but I don't think it's on the table. And it certainly isn't going to be $7.5 billion.
No.
For Sega, yeah, no.
How much you want for that dead hedgehog? Okay. Moving on, let's talk a little bit of rapid fire news before we hit the first look review. So we've got a situation where Perfect World Entertainment is kind of giving and then taking away, depending on how you look at it. They're going to give in the form of Neverwinter, which this is a change that I'm happy with, being a Neverwinter dabbler. They're going to be making changes soon to the drop rates in chests to increase premium drops. They're also going to be making that a little contingent on the difficulty of the content you're doing. So if you're doing more high-end stuff, you will be more likely to get the more important and premium loot from those chests or something that's more time-consuming. All in all, I think it's a net good. This should have been done a while ago, so this is my Perfect World Entertainment give to players. I don't think either of you are going to have a complaint here, right? If you play Neverwinter, you have a chance at better loot. Not yet. It's coming. But if you don't play Neverwinter, then who cares? This is just kind of good news for Neverwinter players, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like what you mentioned. Like they should have done this maybe before.
Long time
You wonder
ago.
why they now decide to make the game more generous. Like they realize people are dropping out or whatever and want better loot. And why now? Why wasn't this 6 years ago? So
Because it's 4th edition. That's why. Everyone likes 4th edition D&D.
Maybe they didn't pass the roll check for all these years, Jason. Jeez.
when my grandpa was playing D&D on his Atari.
That's when they had to make the dice out of tree bark, right? They just like etched things in.
Oh, no, they just made it out of stone and just kept rubbing it against things.
Seriously, though, D&D and I came into the world in the same year, just so you know how old it is.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Anyway, now on that note, though, Perfect World Entertainment is going to take away, in the form of taking away from your wallet if you're a Star Trek Online player who's behind on your reputation. Because, yes, MMOs and reputation grinds have been a thing as long as there have been basically MMOs. And in Star Trek, it's no different. There's quite a number of reputation grinds in the game. And maybe you don't want to do them. Maybe daily quests or repeatables are boring for you and you don't want to do them, but you want that rep. Well, Wilfredo, there is good news for you as a customer. 3,000 Zen will make you automatically tier 5 reputation. You just have to complete that last tier. That's all. That's all. 3,000 Zen. I don't even remember the conversion on Zen, but
it's probably $30, the usual.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so if you want some rep, Wilfredo, you can buy the rep. This is not a rep bonus increase, like most games do with an experience, rep, and gold. 15% increase if you buy a $2 booster potion for 3 days or anything like that. This is flat out. We're going to take you from 0 to tier 5. By the way, the cost does scale. So I got to give it that. Like if you're already tier 3, this will take you to tier 5 and it won't quite be 3,000 Zen. It does scale. It prorates it down. So, I mean, at least there's that. But this feels just so icky to me, Wilfredo.
Yeah. So I'm on two sides of this because this looks like it's meant for the whales who don't want to do anything. We're just like, yeah, I can throw out money. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
But then there are budget players like myself, because I play STO, but I go in and I grind it, And I have a little bit more appreciation for grinding it out, but this is just flat out pay to win. I mean, this is not uncommon for Perfect World, so I'm not surprised, but it's really going to make a lot of old school gamers in Star Trek feel like they got cheated. This entire time I've had to grind out all 6 of these tiers, and you're just going to give it away for 3,000 Zen? Okay. Sure. Yeah, there's a reason for me to come back.
Hey, they only give you 5 tiers. You still got to earn that last one, buddy.
Oh, I got to put in that work for that last tier.
Wilfredo, apparently you didn't spread the word that you were going to be a new host on the Free to Play cast, and so Min this moment in chat, pretty upset with you. How could you not tell them about this?
That is untrue.
Min,
that is completely
Min,
untrue.
I appreciate the follow. Thank you so much. Normally, I play a cheer and do some disco lights in the background. YouTube didn't like that so much because they weren't watching the show live. So after the cast, I'll go ahead and I'll give you the cheer and I'll give you the disco lights in the background for the follow. But it's going to be a little postponed. And Wilfredo, you need to start tweeting, damn it. Jason, you going to buy some rep?
Let the man have his excuse. Go for it. Go for it.
Go ahead.
I told him this 2 weeks ago. As a matter of fact, he was even in the tweet that you put out about getting people on the show to help diversify them.
Yeah.
I've sent him the tweet. I told him about it. Now, you just woke up late. That's all that is.
Oh, Min now questioning my integrity, asking if I enlist hosts that lie.
That's right. I'll see him later. I'll deal with him.
I'll deal with him.
All right, back to STO, Jason.
On the one hand, it makes sense, in kind of a real world situation. How do you gain influence with people? How do you gain reputation? Give them a little bit of the cheddar.
Oh my
so it makes sense in that standpoint. But this is Star Trek, so they don't actually have money. So I don't know how you're setting a goal.
Yeah, it really doesn't fit with the lore there.
But yeah, normally it would make sense. But yeah, I mean, even so, from the gaming standpoint, I mean, how's it that much different than buying a level boost, buying a max level 60 or level 80 or whatever? So it's one of the grinds in the game and letting you pay to undo the grind. So get used to it.
Which just encourages building grind into the game so that you can sell the items to bypass the grind.
This is not a new story, to be honest. So Wilfred, he's going right into chat there. Oh man, he's mad.
Now there's some love going on. That's good.
All right.
Moving on, Blizzard, former Blizzard president Mike Morhaime. Actually, Mike and his wife are funding a new company. Now, the company kind of already existed in the form of some ex-Blizzard employees and some other folks, but the Morheims are actually now running the joint. They're funding the joint. It's called Dreamhaven. We have no idea if what they're working on will be out anytime soon. They have been developing things for a couple of years now, but we don't know if we'll hear news 6 months or 3 years from now on anything. We don't know what they're working on. We don't know if it'll be free to play. We just don't know. That's fine. But interesting to see a lot of former Blizzard people breaking away from Activision Blizzard and not retiring. Just now going and making their new company. And Jason, Mike kind of alluding to maybe Blizzard of old in some of his comments, that they were trying to create a haven for creators. They want a development-friendly environment where you can focus on experiences rather than financial issues. They also mentioned there's a better way of approaching business and game creation that can work and be sustainable and be a lot of fun and yield positive results. So kind of like maybe Blizzard back in the day mentality of we're here to create games, but let's have fun while we're doing it, which I think nobody really would disagree that that's probably not the case at Blizzard, at least to a large degree. I'm sorry, Jason. Did you need a nap?
I might. This is all just making me.
I mean, that's really all we have. We don't have a lot of detail. I think it's cool. I'll definitely be watching them because it feels like golden days of Blizzard. Let's see if they perform like golden days of Blizzard, Jason.
So the golden days of Blizzard were finding just the right nook to make World of Warcraft and be huge from that, making lots of money from that, and then selling out to Activision. So it's like, I get that you want to kind of go back to that, or you want to go back to the old days when you were smaller and maybe more independent or whatever, but I don't know. I'm as excited for this as I am for, Mike O'Brien, the former CEO of ArenaNet, forming his own little company and doing something someday, somehow. So
yeah, and I think that's
when you actually get around to having something to announce, I might be interested, but I'm not interested because it's Mike Morhaime or even because it's Mike O'Brien or whatever. Just sure, make a game and let me know what it is.
And I think that's the linchpin on it right now, Wilfredo, is that we just don't know. What are you doing and how long is it going to be? So it's really hard to get hype.
I mean, yes, But at the same time, you know, if they're talking about Blizzard of old, maybe we'll see some spiritual successors.
Yeah, and to be clear, they didn't like reference Blizzard of old. It was just some of Mike Morhaime's comments kind of alluded to that more smaller, freer development mentality that Blizzard of old had. It's not like they were like, hey, we want to go back to our roots. And no, it just the comments kind of aligned with it when I was reading it.
Right. But that also could tout some really good news. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but I actually liked WildStar outside of the grind. So to see Carbine Studios, the way how they went under, and mind you, there were a bunch of Blizzard developers in that company. And they went off and did their own thing. Now imagine if the two kind of come together and start building games that people genuinely are interested in. And they take the time. Keywords there are take the time. Not worry about the financials. Take the time to develop things people genuinely want. We could see legitimate competition in about 10 years.
You know, like you mentioned WildStar, wasn't that the thing they were going to do? So, oh, this is what people want. They want the old school grind, like Blizzard 2004 or whatever. And it's like, well, no, we actually don't. So
I'm not going to lie, they butchered a little bit on WildStar, just enough to make it, non-existent anymore.
Yeah,
there were some great ideas. The art design was fantastic. The gameplay was solid, but they just butchered specific things about the game, like putting all the good stuff at level cap. Not a good idea. No one wants to grind out 50, 60 levels to get to the fun stuff.
That's what you want to buy the level and the rep grind for.
That leads to Jason's favorite comment. It's a totally different game at endgame. You just get to endgame, Jason. He loves that. All right, before we leave this and finish it off, Wilfredo, you and I get to take a little bit of break here, and we'll toss this over to Jason because he's got some Total War Arena news for you.
Oh yeah, it's back. It's live. You can play it right now. In China, sort of. So, kind of, but yeah. So, yeah, Creative Assembly was partnering with NetEase. We learned about this a while back. NetEase is a big Chinese developer, like Tencent Junior, basically. And they're going to re-release Total War Arena in China. Total War Arena was a kind of, 10v10, MOBA-ish, Total War-ish kind of game that you could play back till about early 2019 is when they shut it down. They're actually published by Wargaming at the time. So they had that for a while. I really liked it, played quite a bit of it. Then they shut it down in 2019, but then they went to Creative Assembly, went to NetEase to get it put up again in China. So we learned about that a few months ago, and they finally just launched it in China earlier this week. But we were given instructions on how you can get into it. You still have to go to like the Chinese website, maybe navigate how to download and whatever. But you can change some files in there once you have it all set up to just use English language support. So I guess you can still play it there. I haven't tried it myself. It makes a little bit of sense since they obviously had English already from the previous version of the game, so they just left it in there and let you be able to, do it there or whatever. But yeah, you can do it right now. You can look on the website. You can find out how to do that, how to get the English stuff in there, and try it out for yourself if you really want.
Are you going to try it?
Wake up, Mike.
Are you going to try it? Or are you just too ingrained in Crusader Kings 3?
Well, there is that. There's Crusader Kings 3, yeah. But I was sort of thinking about it, but then I thought to myself, first of all, they also mentioned they still have plans for a European and North American launch, like a relaunch again. So they're probably going to bring it back. And I kind of want to wait for that, because otherwise, first of all, I'll be having to deal with like Chinese time zones. Like if I want to play it, 8 p.m. my time, that's like 8 a.m. in China. How long are the queues going to be or whatever? Second, I probably have to start over completely. And then when the new, what new Western release comes out, do I have to start over again and grind up everything again? So I don't really want to play on this version. I like to wait a little while and see what's happening. So
fair enough.
I think I'm probably not going to.
Well, Fredo, are you into these type of games? These like strategy warfare games?
I actually have Total War Shogun for PC. So I've played these games before.
That's one of Jason's favorites.
It's amazing.
I like the Tilla my favorite, but anyway, go ahead.
I said one of your favorites, not your favorite.
Yeah, okay.
But I've played them before. I usually get slaughtered in them. I enjoy them. But for this, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on it. I'm on the fence. Yes, the franchise has been top notch from start to finish. I especially love Warhammer Total War. Oh my god, so good. But I don't know. I think I would rather wait. With like Jason said, I would wait for the North American release. I mean, no one wants to grind, then grind again, and then grind again. In this case, to take a bit of Chinese wisdom, patience is a virtue.
Fair enough.
Just say.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We now have a philosopher on the show. All right, finishing up here, and I'm not going to make my impressions here very long at all. We're going to talk a little bit about Rocket League now that it is free to play. We streamed it earlier this week. I did it a little bit again yesterday after I finished some Phantasy Star Online 2 stuff before we signed off. So I've probably played it every day since it came out for some length of time. For a game that I did not think, I thought, oh, that's kind of neat. You know, race cars and soccer balls, that's kind of neat. Way back when, but it's not really my thing. It has absolutely really become my thing. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I'll play it tonight. Probably play it once or twice this weekend. I don't know how long it'll stick with me. I'm not going to belabor my thoughts. It's been out forever. If you've played it, you know. Even if you haven't played it, you probably have a basic idea of what it is. I am enjoying it. I do think the cash shop is a little on the pricey side after a few days of digging into it. I do agree with some of the opinions given to me by other people when we started streaming it on launch day. Zach Sharps did a first look video. He's been playing it for years. He's up there on the skill ladder as far as what he can do in game. So we passed that first look off to him, and he did a tremendous job with it. Check it out if you want to see that. He does go into the cash shop and some of the free-to-play variances that they're in there now versus back when it had loot boxes, and he breaks that down real nicely, as well as showing you some aerials that I couldn't have pulled off yet, but I'm starting to be able to. It feels good. All in all, I got to give it a thumbs up. I mean, there wasn't much to do here, Jason, as far as a free-to-play conversion. You basically already had a free-to-play model. You just had to take the box price off. So I don't think there's a lot of griping to be had here. It's fun. If you like it, go for it. And if you don't, then you'll probably already know that.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in your boat, too. I was like, okay, Rocket League's going to be free to play. I had never played it at all. You at least played a little bit, but I had never touched it at all. And then I get into it, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of fun. I could see why this is a thing that people... even casual, jerks like us can get in there and still play and have fun. And some of us can still be undefeated, which I feel like I shouldn't play anymore to ruin my perfect record. But even seeing Zach play, Zach was like, well, I'm in the top 2% of players, but that doesn't mean I'm really good. And it's like, okay, sure, Zach, whatever.
Well, yeah, he was making an important distinction there, though. As far as power ranking, he was in the top 2, but he was also making the point of that has nothing to do as far as skill level when you look at professional players. He was like, the difference between me being top 2 in the rankings and professional players is astounding. Yeah.
Well, I wonder what he said. He actually said he rated top 2% because of a survey or something, which I'm trying to figure out how a survey works. Like, because everyone's going to write, I'm an awesome player, I'm the best. So I don't know how that works. But even seeing him pull off stuff that you and I were not doing. Like, I was like, wait, how's he getting up that high and getting the boost and going that fast? I was like, okay. So I've clearly got a ways to go before I'm on, Zach level, much less, pro level or whatever, which I'm probably not going to ever get to. But yeah, so you can definitely have fun with it at a low level and also at a high level as well. The thing about it that I feel like is like, I don't feel like I want to play it alone. Like, I enjoy playing with you, but I don't know that I'm going to want to get in and grind, find random teammates and play forever to grind out the different levels of the battle pass or whatever other kind of loot there is. So I see it as more of a fun party game, not necessarily something I want to play individually. Yeah,
last night on Ready Check Radio, it was me, Lou, and Perry playing in 3v3s, and that was a blast. Yeah. Although unlike you though, I've had no problem. Like on the stream yesterday, I played for maybe an hour. It was just the tail end of the stream. We had nothing left to do in PSO2 until today. And by the way, episode 5 next week. I had no problem queuing up alone. It really didn't bother me. We got trounced. I felt like yesterday I was in a queue that I had no right being in. I mean, I was getting demolished skill level wise. They were just way over my skill level, but I guess it happens sometime. Wilfredo, what are your thoughts? Have you been a Rocket League player? Are you new to it, free to play? Never touched it? What do you think?
I played it. I think it's awesome because it's high adrenaline, high octane soccer on steroids, and there is a very small learning curve when it comes to just getting into the game. Anybody can jump in and play. I think that's what makes the game marketable. However, there is a steep learning curve to learning just the sweet nuances of the game.
Yeah.
Which I think is the challenge. That's what everybody goes for. everybody wants to get to that point of, oh, I'm stellar in this. Then I play, and it's like, oh, look, I can drive forward. But
what's the
Yeah,
old,
I can
what was
turn
the
left
old
and right.
tagline for the board game Othello? A minute to learn, a lifetime to master.
exactly, that's exactly what this game is. But it's stupid amounts of fun. I think we should just embrace the fact that this is a game that you can jump into at any point, play it when you're bored, you got some downtime, or if you want to go pro, just get into it. Although it does remind me of MOBAs from time to time because the community can be a little toxic.
Well, that's what happens when you put a bunch of us together on the internet. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I give it a thumbs up. Jason, I think you and Wilfredo also thumbs up.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot more. I'm going to play it tonight. I mean, and I've played it the last 3 days. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm, to Wilfredo's point, I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I'm not good by any stretch yet. It's only been a total of like 7 hours of gameplay. I'm not good, but I feel like I'm improving in certain things. My tracking, my elevation judgment, stuff like that. I still miss, but I feel like I'm getting better, and I think that's a big part of the game. And overall, I have a winning record, which is amazing, which is absolutely amazing to me. So
it's you can look at your friends list and see the number of wins. When I looked at the other day, it was like me 2, Mike 4, Zach 4,000.
he's a little ahead of us. Yeah,
little bit.
Little bit. Go check out the first look on mmobomb.com. Zach did a great job with it. Let's slide over and get started with the weekly bombs. Wilfredo, you're the guest. You get to go first.
Awesome. I'm giving my dub bomb today for to Warframe. So apparently somebody hacked my account. I hadn't been in there for about 3 years. They suspended my account till January of 2035. I submitted a ticket and I was like, hey, I don't know what happened, but this is a thing. I'm suspended to 2035. You can show me transactions, what happened. I'll stay away from your product. But if there's any way for me to get my account back, that'd be great. Within 5 hours, they shot me an email. Change your password, two-factor authentication. There you go.
Nice.
So, good up on that.
Then there's still me waiting for EA to figure something out with Respawn. And
Oh God.
anyway,
Oh, this is EA. You're too small potatoes.
go. My tweet streak continues every couple of days. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. Well, last week we gave an A-bomb to Lord of the Rings Online and Standing Stone
Yes.
Games for how they chose to announce the expansion, mini expansion, whatever, on the community manager stream.
Mhm.
Well, this week we give an A-bomb to Terra and how they're choosing to announce stuff for Terra console version by doing it via their community manager's personal website. And Terra actually, they have a website, but they still link to their guy's thing where he says he has an exclusive, and it's like, dude, you're not a reporter, you're not a blogger. He says he's the community manager for them. Yeah.
You're not anymore.
So he actually works for them, probably collects a paycheck, but it's on his website that they're laying stuff out. That's even worse than putting it on the. Actually, no, Lotra doesn't. They just announce it on the stream. They don't even have a list on the forums.
Right.
So I guess this is a little better.
Yeah.
It's almost like a forum post, but it's on the guy's website.
This one doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you, because I don't obviously know the terms of the contract, the partnership, the employment, whatever you want to call it.
Well, it shouldn't be that. Then A-bomb to Terra for negotiating that, if that's the deal.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to EVE Online players and the massive assistance they've offered to help research the effects of the COVID virus long term. They've been instrumental in parsing data that could be funneled back to actual researchers. So I thought that was really cool. When I first saw it a couple months ago or a month ago, I was like, how does that work? That doesn't make any sense. EVE Online players, but it was just really they were parsing data that then they went through millions of records. They ended up with over 400,000 that the researchers were deemed viable and able to use. I was like, that's really, really interesting. Before we get to the viewers here, remember to check out gamerpower.com. Old Glory putting it in chat. Thank you so much. Don't presume to know where I'm going to do things in the show, sucker. Sign up for gamerpower.com. This is a sister site of MMO Bomb, absolutely free, so it's not like a paid ad we're getting from somebody or anything. This is one of our sites. If you like free stuff in free games, free stuff in buy-to-play games, or just free games in general sometimes, Head on over, sign up. There is no premium membership options or donates no, it's free. Go use it. It'll track all of your different preferences as far as what giveaways you like. It'll recommend giveaways that pop up or give you direct giveaways for games you have on your profile as favorited. And it'll even track how much you have never spent by using the site. Cool little site. Nice way to get all of your free stuff. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 on there from the Epic Game Store. Troy on there, the DLC. Total War Saga Troy stuff's on there as well. So go check it out. What's that?
A-Bomb not being able to claim that yet because they've had some messed up issues with that.
But from the hosts, or from the guests, from the viewers. Jesus. Come on, Mike.
From some random losers,
from
whatever.
internet peoples. Whole Milk says, "Da bomb to the fact that we have so many free-to-play games to pick these days. The entertainment value is infinite. A-bomb to the fact that we have so many free-to-play games to pick from these days. I've spent so much time installing and uninstalling games to play the last 2 weeks that I'm thinking of opening a support group for those who suffer like I do. Oh, wait. That already exists. It's the MMORPG subreddit, and it sucks. Oh, also, it was me who created the free-to-play cast survival guide with the explanations of the bombs all those years ago. I was going by the name Korukan at the time. P.S. To further show my age, I went under some other names years back when you did the 1-year special live stream of the free-to-play cast. The one thing that sticks out in my mind was someone attempting to drink 4 cans of Monster Energy drink before Mike noticed. Yes, so, Jason, here is the art. We have relocated the art.
Did you relocate it or he send it back in?
It was sent back. It was on Imager
Okay,
still.
all right, there we go.
So for those of you that need a guide on what's a da bomb and an A bomb, here you go. The Essential Guide to Bomb, Cynicism, and the History of Mounting. Da bomb is good. Dropped a huge content patch and it's amazing. A bomb is bad. Lawbreakers, am I right? Mounted, replacing first and first comment and first likes and all that stuff from way back when. Jason's intermittent fasting, this young new craze Jason Winter is exploring. If you don't remember that, you haven't been watching long enough. Because that was intermittent fasting. Jason. Anyway. Oh my, that's so funny. And then, of course, a reference to Troy Blackburn and Bless Online. Troy Blackburn tells us why this MMO is the most unique thing we've ever seen. So, absolutely wonderful stuff. And Whole Milk, if you're in chat, you want to link it to everybody there that's asking for it, by all means, go ahead.
Just eat something.
Yeah, that was the best. He was like, I'm so hungry. Some viewer was like, I'm so hungry. I'm doing intermittent fasting and I could really go for something. And Jason was like, dude, just eat something. We were like, do you know what intermittent fasting means? Yeah, so anyway, thank you, Whole Milk, for supplying me with the art that got lost in a PC transfer. I appreciate that. By the way, somebody did comment on the video, and I didn't put it in the show here. When they ask questions, viewers ask questions for us to answer. Somebody did ask, like, if I changed streaming software, if I changed equipment, and if I would do a close-up of my background and stuff like that. I don't think answering that question really works on the free-to-play cast. That's kind of a longer question. But I guess if more people want to take a walk through my setup and set and everything, comment below, and maybe I'll do an MMO thoughts episode on it. I just don't think it would really fit in the free-to-play cast, but I wanted to make sure I got you an answer. Jason, go ahead.
Silkapek says, considering Gabe Newell called the guy who made Diabolical an ass and fired him on the spot in Ring Attorney, I think we can give that game a pass for being on the Epic Store.
Yeah, a little bit.
I remember that incident now.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was the person who made Diabolical.
From chat, we've got Guardian Vale chiming in with a dub bomb to the new Path of Exile Heist League. It's a bit buggy, but they like it. A bomb to a time I've never have enough. Want to play so many games in the coming months. Yeah, time is always a problem. Ninja Panda giving a dub bomb to the translators for their hard work, keeping up with the hosts and the new PSO2 New Genesis news at the Tokyo Game Show. Yeah, that was kind of funny, them keeping up there. Wilfredo, take that last one, which is kind of in reference to what Sokopex just said.
Sure. Simon says, chiming in with Sokopex, Also, Epic got the studio out of financial bankruptcy with a guarantee for at least 2 years of game development support, even though the studio would not make any profit out of the game.
Interesting. Question of the week last week. What free-to-play title do you want to boot up first on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X? And we said no qualifiers on it. It doesn't have to be a launch title. Just which game do you want to see and play there first? Whole Milk chiming in again. Not planning on getting a console. However, Brawlhalla is a must-have. The game's a great alternative to Smash Brothers and offers a fun couch party fighter experience that has been monopolized by Nintendo since the dawn of man. That game has so many crossovers, too. So many crossover characters. There's going to be something for everybody in that one. Go ahead, Jason.
Box says, wouldn't mind launching something that already runs terribly on PC, like Vindictus or Terra, for some quick laughs. Not even high-end hardware can fix bad optimization. That's true.
Finish it off, Wilfredo.
Sure. Breckener Catalan says, question of the week, I think the last console I owned was a Sega Genesis. Consoles are for gaming, but PCs are useful for so much more. If I were rich, I would buy both consoles, but for now, it's only my PC for me.
And that kind of segues into our question of the week. Now that we have all the details, all the dates, all the prices on everything, all the different models, the pre-order catastrophe continues. I want to know, no restrictions. So don't tell me I can't afford it. No restrictions. I couldn't get a pre-order. Set all that stuff aside. No restrictions like cash on hand, pre-order shenanigans, or anything like that. Which console do you buy first? Is it the PlayStation 5? Is it the Xbox Series X? Why? And if it's none, you just absolutely, with no restrictions, would not buy either one of them. Why? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give us your weekly bomb while you're there. Da bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming.
Lawbreakers, am I right?
Am I right? And we'll be sure to include it on next week's show. Until then, Wilfredo, where can everybody find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at DamianXMarius. I might start streaming again sometime soon. Twitch.tv/DamianXMarius.
Jason.
On Twitter, Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/Jason Winter. Yes, I'm still streaming Crusader Kings.
Still streaming Crusader Kings. Wilfredo, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Wilfredo will be a regular host on the show. He's not making a guest host, so he will be one of the hosts cycling in and out with Jason and Q and Troy and Zach and everybody else. So welcome to the MMO Bomb team. Over the next month or two, we will have one or two other new hosts joining us as well to kind of get more and more opinions for all of you. So we hope you enjoyed Wilfredo's appearance today and look forward to Wilfredo appearing on future episodes of the Free-to-Play Cast. My name is Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1. But more importantly, follow me at MMO Bomb so we can tweet all the latest news, first look videos, Free-to-Play Cast giveaways, and so much more right to your feed. Until next week, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.